H-Town, it is cold outside, and that's why I'm bringing on our food contributor, Sean the Food Sheep, to pick the best dishes to warm us up. From the best fuzz spots to soups, we're creating a list that will help us survive this winter weather. It's Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. I'm Raheel Ramzanli, and here's what Houston's talking about. Man, Sean, it has been cold and we are still in it. I know we're going to get some relief here, but before we start talking about some foods to warm us up, do you have something odd that you like to eat during these cold stretches that you just go, wait, why? It's too cold to enjoy this. What do you got for me?
Yeah, all my friends think I'm a weirdo for this. So every time I go out for coffee, even in cold weather, I always get iced coffee or a cold brew. Like it's just, I don't know what it is. I just cannot have my coffee in any other way. So like yesterday, the day before, in freezing temperatures, I literally got myself a cold brew and I was like chewing on that ice. And I know we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but I'm a big ice cream and winter guy as well. Like I love going to Jenny's, Amy's, Tiny's Milk and Cookies ice cream and just kind of chowing that down in the winter. I don't know why. It just feels like in the summer it just melts way too quickly for me. So I can just kind of enjoy it in the winter a little bit more.
That makes sense on the ice cream front. And I'm with you. I love cold coffee, especially a cold brew, every single day of my life. I don't like hot coffee anymore. It's rare if I drink hot coffee. I need that ice. I need that less acidic coffee. I did it the same thing, man. Cold coffee, even on the coldest days.
Great minds think alike.
Hey, so let's start with the most obvious dish out there during a cold front, soup. Okay. There's nothing better. It warms you up. It's the perfect dish for this cold weather. Give me a few soups that we need to try around H-Town during this cold snap.
I gotcha. So my first is actually a kind of a traditional Mexican soup. It's called a menudo. So it's made with beef stripe, which is like cow stomach, and a broth with like red chili pepper base. The broth tastes something like a tortilla soup, but a little bit less smoky. I'd say it's definitely more of a acquired taste. But taqueria or rondas on the weekends, you can get these like soups and like big portions from their Edgebrook and 45 South locations. So that's always like a go-to for me, the Menudo. So just go there on the weekends. I think they only serve it on the weekends, and I think it's only at those two locations. But I'm a big ramen guy as well. So like I love myself some ramen bar ichi. So it's near the Energy Corridor. Everybody I consistently know says that that's like the best ramen in Houston. I've only had it once in the past year, but I want to go a couple more times and just try a little bit of different things. But I believe it's also one of the few places in Houston that serves Sukumen ramen. So I don't know that for sure, like that they're the only ones, but I do know that they are one of the only ones in the country. It's like a ramen dish where you kind of take the noodles and you dip them in a separate bowl of soup or broth. So it's a little bit different. And then their spicy tonkatsu ramen's always good. Broth is savory and creamy. Noodles are thick and firm. It's always a solid option.
Ooh, that sounds so good. With Menudo, it's a little bit lighter than our basic tortilla soup, right? Everyone goes with that one. But that Menudo, just that broth hits so much harder.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely like it's an acquired taste, and I know some of them have garbanzo beans in them, but I know the one that I recommended at Taqueria Ronda's doesn't necessarily use that. So there are different variations as well. Oh, and I forgot to mention there it has been this place on my list. I don't know if you've been there, but it's called Samurai Noodle. So basically, I saw a video the Japanese consulate of Houston did a while back. I think it was like a year ago, and it's been on my list this entire time. So if the Japanese consulate of Houston is doing a video on a ramen spot, like I feel like it's going to be good. So I'd say definitely add Samurai Noodle to your list. I'm definitely checking it out within the next few weeks as well.
Okay, putting that on my list because I haven't been there and I need to start following the Japanese consulate. I didn't know that they had a popping social media. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I was just like on YouTube. They just have like I think they have like a food series, going on. It's not viewed by that many people, but hey, like again, like who better to know ramen than the Japanese consulate? So you got to trust their recommendations.
I love that. Okay, pho has really made a push as the go-to cold weather food for Houstonians. And there's so many choices. I mean, we could do a whole episode on that one, but give me some top spots that you enjoy or you recommend for the best pho in Houston.
Yeah, that's a tough question, especially in Houston. Like I feel like this will almost start fights, like depending on who you're around. But I feel like one place I went to the University of Houston, especially during college. It's called Faux Bin. So they have a few locations around Houston, but that was like where the best, probably the best pho in Houston you can get. Just get anything from there, and you'll have a good time. For a little bit higher end of an option, like this is like Vietnamese and like Texas fusionism a little bit. So it's called the Pho Fix. It's near Shepherd Forest. Get their Supreme Bowl. Again, it is a little bit expensive. Like it's not like $10, $15 that a typical, pho bowl would get you. This will almost go to $30. But it's called their Supreme Bowl and it comes with beef rib, oxtail, bone marrow. It's one of those meals that it's just going to be super filling. So if you're really hungry and you want something a little bit more elevated, I'd say definitely check out the Pho Fix. And oh yeah, and the last place I forgot was Faux Dien on Bel Air Boulevard. This place is always busy. On their menu, I think it's the number one. It's the Pho Dak Biet. It's their most known for dish. I think it's like $12 for a large, $15 for an extra large, for like decently priced as well. Just packed to the brim with like so much meat,
Ooh.
like steak, brisket, tendon. The broth is just phenomenal. Their like meat is high quality and soft. So I'd say those three options are all solid options. But again, like it's always a massive debate in Houston.
Those are great. I love just going in and like I don't even want to wear a jacket when I go into the restaurant because I want to be really cold when I get my pho. I want it to do its job. It just warms you up to the core.
See, I'm that kind of guy too. I like being cold before I eat a nice warm food. But some of these places you might have a wait, like Thodian, I know is like a 15-30 minute wait, like no matter what. So just be careful with that. If you guys are listening, I would bring a jacket just in case.
So winter foods and carbs go hand in hand, all right? Give me some carb loaded dishes we need to eat so we can feel nice and warm at the end.
So a place I recently tried, actually they were voted the number one new pizza joint in America according to Esquire. It's called Nanos. So it started by the same folks that started that are involved with Nobi's, the toasted coconut. So if you guys have been into the toasted coconut, it's literally right next door. But it's like a cool, almost like a retro '90s, '80s themed pizza cafe. They do thin tavern, like Midwestern tavern style pizza. So again, it's like it's almost as thin as a cracker when you get their pizza. I thought their pizza was pretty solid, and also their mozzarella sticks. Each one is almost like 1,000 calories, but those might be the biggest mozzarella sticks I've ever seen in my life.
Nice. Carb loading and getting warm with some pizza and mozzarella sticks. I love that. Okay, I'm going to open up the can of worms here or the can of beans, okay? So, to bean or not to bean, and this is a debate that we've been having for a long time amongst all Houstonians. When it comes to our chili, do you like beans in it or do you not like beans in it?
Oh, that's tough. I'm gonna say no beans to that. That's like a yeah, that's a tough debate. And I know like I'm trying to think of like good chili spots around Houston. It's just like a thing that yeah, I feel like it's just more enjoyably made at home. I know during the rodeo they do a chili cook off as well. Have you ever been to one of those like the chili cook offs that the
Yeah.
rodeo has?
Yeah, it's fun, and there's literally no chili there. Okay, here's the thing: the cook off. Like I know they advertise like the barbecue cook off and the chili cook off. We don't get to try it. The judges get to try it, and unless you have a nice tent or you know somebody that's cooking it, you're probably not going to get any. So it's yeah, I've been there, but I haven't tried any of this great chili everyone talks about.
Neither have I, to be fair. So it goes both ways. But I'm gonna take this like another step. Like this isn't necessarily chili, but like Moon Tower Inn is one place that if you just like good old fashioned hot dogs with exotic meats, it's like a very solid spot. I think they may have chili as like a topping that you might be able to put. But in terms of like hot dogs, and it's just kind of like my favorite hot dog spot in Houston. They do exotic meats like rabbit, boar, all that kind of stuff. So, and then Yo-Yo's is a good option as well. But yeah, chili I think is always one of those things that's like best made at home.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a home cooked thing. Now, Wiener Schnitzel does have locations across the city of Houston now, and they do really good chili dogs. And you can also get their chili on the side, and it's no beans. Okay. So, for those of you who are anti beans in your chili, I don't know why. I love beans in my chili. Give me all the carbs you can. Give me more filling food. Okay. I'm all about the beans, but then I also like without beans. I like everything. I just want to eat it. If it's good, I'm going to eat it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, we've hit all the heavy hitters now. Let's go to some non traditional cold weather dishes. Do you have any recommendations for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna say South Asian food I think is super underrated in the winter. I think there are some cuisines that absolutely kill it in the winter, and South Asian cuisine is gonna be it. I would say there's this new spot that I've been going to. It's called Everest Curry Bar and Grill. It's a new South Asian Nepalese restaurant in the Cyprus area. So it's a very unassuming spot. It's literally right next to a gas station. I heard about it from a bunch of folks in the Indian community, and I've gotten takeout from there a few times. Incredible meat selection. I'll go so far as to say it's probably like a top three South Asian spot in Houston for me. Like that's
Whoa.
how good I think it is, and I just think they deserve so much more like recognition because again, it's like such an unassuming spot. It's like in Cyprus, but it's just so good. And then Aga's, like I feel like going to Aga's, it's like for those that don't know, it's like a Pakistani spot. It's a massive spot. It's almost like a reception hall more than a restaurant itself, but probably the best South Asian spot in Houston. Just get anything spicy, and I think you're gonna have a good time. But yeah, for a cold weather dish, give me some butter chicken, give me some lamb chops, and I think that's the most underrated cold weather dish.
Yeah, so good. We've talked to Shokut Maradia, the owner of Agas, and they'll serve up to 3,000 people on the weekends, and they continuously do that. Like, it is so good. I love that one. But I really want to try Everest Curry Bar and Grill now because if you're saying it's top three in the city of Houston, that is love right there, my man.
It's like relatively new too. I don't think they've like been around for that long. But again, we've gotten takeout there a couple times, and I feel like the best way to judge, like let's say like an Indian restaurant, for example, is like if you see a lot of Indians there,
Mhm.
like I'm Indian, you know it's going to be a good spot. So like all the Indian community goes there. So definitely check it out. Everest Curry Bar and Grill.
Nice. I like that one. I'm going to try it for sure. All right. Before I let you go, I say it every single time you're on. You know, I'm a sweets guy. I need something to end us on a high note here with some dessert. So give me something good here when it comes to keeping us nice and warm. And I'm going to get my sugar fix. What's your pick?
Okay. So for the nice and warm one, I'm gonna say this spot. It's called Katami. So it's a new spot that was founded by the founder of Kata Rabata. So for those that don't know, Kata Rabata is probably one of the best Japanese restaurants in Houston, and they opened up a second, like even more higher end Japanese restaurant in Houston. It's called Katami. And it's just like a beautiful interior. It's like we were seated next to basically what was like a Japanese garden. It's one of those places that you basically go on an anniversary or a birthday. Like to
Mm.
truly enjoy it, you got to spend more than $100 plus, per person. And they have this apple caramel bread pudding. Like over the past month, again, I've tried a Houston restaurant every day for the past month. It's probably my favorite dessert. It's just their apple caramel bread pudding is insane. Like it's so warm, it's so gooey with a little bit of ice cream on top. So again, go try it. It genuinely like the best dessert I've had in the last month. And then I want to give a shout out to another place because I think it's probably the best croissants in Houston. It's like a croissant only bakery. It's called Love Croissants. They genuinely have the best croissants like you'll ever have. They use the highest quality ingredients. Get their almond croissant. That was my personal favorite. Now, what I will say is they're the most expensive croissants I've ever had in my life too. They're like $10 for a croissant. So just
Wow.
be aware of that because I went there and then I got like six croissants for my family, and then I was like, oh my god, this is like $50. So just be aware of that when you go. But again, great spot.
This might be so stereotypical because it's such a basic pick, but to me, a dozen glazed donuts from Shipley's when it's hot is such a good winter comfort food. And it just hits it perfectly. It keeps you nice and warm. It gives you the carbs, it gives you the sugar. I know it's not like a sexy pick, but man, it still works.
So let me ask you this: do you drink milk with your donuts? Because I'm one of those people like a Shipley's donut. I gotta have like some milk with it to like wash it down, even in the winter. Like some cold milk.
I go cold brew still. I like because I put oat milk in mine and I put a little bit of chocolate milk in my cold brew. So I still go with the coffee. I need that coffee bitterness to balance out that sweetness with the donut.
Okay, that's fair. Nice.
This is going to keep us nice and warm. This list was awesome. Sean, thank you so much for the recommendations, and enjoy eating at every single Houston restaurant. Can't wait to have you back on.
Yeah, thank you. And just so everybody knows, if you've been watching my content, I've been in and out of Houston the last few years, but now I'm a lot more permanently in Houston. So, yeah, I will be doing a lot more Houston stuff. Before it was 50-50. Now it's probably going to be like 80% Houston stuff, 20% travel. So I'm excited about that as well.
Nice. There you go. Welcome back home, man.
Good to be back. Thank you.
That was Sean the Food Sheep. You can follow all of his culinary adventures with the links in our show notes, and I've also linked all of the places we discussed there as well. Before we go, I want to send some love to all of our rideshare drivers, and specifically listener The Professor, who's been putting on CityCast Houston for every passenger when they're riding around H-Town. Thank you for helping us grow the show. That will do it for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new.